With the Texas legislative session wrapping, we're seeing several of our investigations making a difference at the state capitol. We've been tracking bills sparked by our investigations all session, and now we know 7 are on their way to becoming law. Some passed in the last hours lawmakers could act. On the last day of the session, the governor signed a bill for more transparent medical billing in Texas, a direct result of our team's investigation. We first discovered this issue after a Central Texas hospital sued hundreds of patients over unpaid medical bills. Several patients told us they received vague bills and could not get itemized invoices before the lawsuits against them. The legislation now requires hospitals to provide a written, understandable, itemized invoice before sending patients to collections. Another medical measure passed by lawmakers after our team's investigation, a bill to protect patients from dangerous doctors. Last year, we told you about doctors coming to Texas, practicing with clean records on their Texas Medical Board profiles, despite having their medical licenses revoked in other states. At the time, the bill's author, Democratic Representative Julie Johnson from Dallas, told us addressing this would be her top priority.
The reporting that you did where you uncovered all of the physicians who had lost their license in other states, and that was not disclosed on the Texas Medical Board's website, is Exhibit A as to the problem. The Texas Medical Board has completely failed in its job, so we're going to have to step in and do it for them.
The bill aims to make it a Class A misdemeanor to lie on medical license applications, prevent doctors who had their licenses revoked in other states from practicing in Texas, and require monthly monitoring of all physicians with the National Practitioner Data Bank. The medical legislation passed after our investigations even extends to animal doctors in Texas, after lawmakers voted to temporarily attach the state's Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners to another state agency in order to help with data collection and management issues. The measure will allow the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation to assist the board with policymaking and administrative oversight for the next 4 years. Lawmakers added a provision allowing the Vet Board to retain rulemaking powers on matters related to scope of practice and medical concerns. Following years of our investigations on the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, state lawmakers passed an expansive bill to reform the agency, giving it more power to hold police accountable, approve new departments, license new officers, and more. The bill was authored by Republican Senator Angela Paxton of McKinney. She wrote the legislation from recommendations by the Texas Sunset Advisory Commission, which reviewed the agency and described it as toothless. The bill gives TCOL the authority to set minimum standards for new departments and create a publicly searchable database of licensed peace officers in the state. The agency will also check the personnel files of new applicants who previously worked in other states to make sure their license wasn't revoked. Another measure already signed by the governor will expand access to the state's Crime Victims Compensation Fund and increase payouts for certain claims. The move widens eligibility for household members of victims, increases relocation compensation, and increases lost wages for family members of deceased victims and more. Our team investigated problems with the program last year and found several employees said they were overworked and the program was understaffed, struggling to pay claims fast enough. Records from the Attorney General's office show it now takes an average 6 months for victims to receive a first payment on a claim, and that's a record high. Another crime-related bill sparked in part by our investigations will get rid of paper license plates in Texas.
And with that, Mr. Speaker, I concur with Senate amendments.
Mr. Golan. The bill's author, Republican Representative Craig Goldman, on the House floor there, holding up a fake paper plate as the measure passed. It aims to ensure metal plates would replace those temporary dealer plates. For years, we've investigated what became a $200 million black market, letting criminals infiltrate the Texas DMV system and sell counterfeit tags. Our coverage led to the resignation of top officials at the state agency. Representative Goldman previously said our investigations helped educate lawmakers about the extent of the problem.
The more we dove into it and the more we've seen stories like you do.
You see the one I'm going after?
We realized what a major problem it is.
The bill was sent to the governor. The DMV has until next year to come up with a rule to implement the change, which would not take effect until 2025. That's all contingent on the governor signing these bills. He has a few weeks to do so. Most of these bills, including this next one, would go into effect September 1st. And this next one comes after our 6-year investigation spanning 4 legislative sessions pushing for police transparency. With just hours to go this legislative session, lawmakers voted to close a controversial legal gap known as the dead suspect loophole. The issue is an exemption in the state's Public Information Act giving police discretion to withhold records in cases where a suspect doesn't go through the court process. Despite some law enforcement opposition, the bill's author previously told us it gained momentum this session after the mass shooting in Uvalde after the gunman died.
The issue with it became extremely pronounced during that investigation because what we needed were the facts. We needed the documentation, we needed the videos, we needed to know what happened.
Again, we have been investigating this problem for 6 years, multiple reports, and consistently pushing for accountability. That's the kind of dedication our team has to the people these problems affect. Persistence matters, and sometimes it's the only way to bring about change, and we'll keep doing that for you. We'll also keep you updated on the progress of these bills online. Catch up on how we got here. Just scan the QR code on your screen now to head to the Texas Politics section of our website and look for the links in this story. Texas will soon have a new law ending discrimination based on hairstyles associated with race. We look at what fueled efforts to pass the Crown Act and why moves to make it a federal law face a tougher path.